On va commencer. Alors, cette semaine, on va commencer les halachot sur la Parashat Chukim, donc de la semaine dernière par rapport à, par rapport à la, comment dire, par rapport à la halakha ici en Israël. Je sais qu'en Rousselarès, vous avez un parachat en décalé, mais nous, ici en Israël, on est déjà Parashat Balak et là, je vais commencer la parachat de la semaine dernière. Donc, c'est sur les aliments non juifs. So for Juliet, so now we're going to start the halachot from the Parashat Hukat from the next last week here in Israel, and it's about all the bread of non-Jews. So all the food that came from a non-Jew, and also specifically here, the Yishai will start with the halachot according the bread that came from non-Jew. So I send the picture. J'ai envoyé la photo. On va juste partager. Shalom. Shalom, shalom, bienvenue.
Shalom.
Donc on va commencer la première halakha, les halachot par rapport à la Parashat Hukat, donc Shana Shniya, the second year of Parashat Hukat. So it's about all the halachot, toutes les règles concernant les aliments cuits par un non-juif. So halakha 1. Et après, on va essayer de comprendre en fait, parce que en gros, on avait vu qu'il y a les pains qui sont non-juifs, certains pains, c'est-à-dire avec les 5 céréales, mais on va détailler tout ça. À partir du moment où on fait des pâtes pour former du pain, et que c'est fait par un non-juif, il y a certaines céréales où on n'a pas le droit de manger, etc. Et on va aller en détail et comprendre d'où ça vient, Bezat Hashem, avec les cours qu'on a reçus de Rabbi Pinchas, mais aussi sur les livres de Ben Yishai. Donc, on va commencer. We're going to start halakha 1. Donc, I read in French and then I will translate the attachés. So, nos sages interdisent le pain des non-juifs afin de nous séparer totalement d'eux et d'éviter qu'une cohabitation trop étroite et trop amicale avec eux n'entraîne une promiscuité et des mariages interdits, comme ce fut le cas dans les plaines de Moab. So, he said it, halakha 1, first halakha. Our sages prohibited the bread of non-Jews, Jew, in order to do a preparation between the Jew and the non-Jew. Because when we share food, we share some, we become too close to non-Jew. Welcome, Banit Anava. And because we're gonna share this meal, it can end with a marriage with non-Jew. And we saw on the introduction of the Parashat Chukim that the neshamot of the Jewish and non-Jew are not rooted on the same place. The place of the neshamot from Jew is from a place which is unique, unique. Yeah, we'll say it. And the neshamot from the non-Jew come from other place, which is multicity, plurality. We're gonna say. So this is the first halakha. Ils n'ont toutefois interdit que le pain avec les 5 espèces de céréales, mais non le pain fait de légumineuses, non plus que le riz ou le millet. Car ces pains, sans grande valeur, n'entraînent aucune fraternisation. So he said, this prohibition is concerning only the 5 types of wheat, let's say, that we saw in the Torah. But if it's the bread have been made out of rice wheat, or I don't know, rice powder, or things other than those 5 wheats, It's okay, even to buy it from the non-Jew. So, j'ai une question, du coup, je sais que Rabbi Shimon en parle souvent, mais je vais quand même reposer la question. Est-ce que quelqu'un peut me donner les 5 céréales qui sont citées dans la Torah? Can anyone quote me the 5 cereals that have been quoted in the Torah, which is connected to the land of Israel also, but these are the 5. Est-ce que quelqu'un peut me donner...
Is it oats?
Sorry?
Did you say the grains, the 5 grains?
Yeah, the 5 grains, yeah.
Is it one of them's oats?
Yes, one of them oats, so we have one. Si quelqu'un d'autre peut aider à Rabbinite Juliette.
Il y a le blé. Vous parlez des 5 céréales, les 7 fruits.
Les 5 céréales.
Le blé, l'orge, l'avoine, le seigle et le pourpre.
Exactement. Donc, comme a dit Rabbinite Mouna, elle a cité les 5. Je vais essayer de traduire. I'm going to try to translate in English those 5 grains, as you say. So the first one is, as you say, Rabbinite Juliette, it's oat. And then you have wheat, you have spelt, you have barley, and you have emmer spelt, which is, this is what I found in the internet. So those are the 5 grains that have been quoted in the Torah. And this is when the bread have been made out of those 5 grains. We are not allowed to buy them from a non-Jew. But if it's made out of rice, maybe rice powder, in order to do bread, it is permitted. So we're gonna go on the detail why those 5 those 5 grains other than the other and We're gonna go through the halachot first. Il n'y a pas non plus lieu d'interdire ces pains à titre de Bishul Goyim, interdiction de consommer du mets cuit par un non-juif, de tel pain n'étant pas servi à la table de roi ou de prince. So there's no need to forbid those types of the bread thanks to the reason of Bishul Goy, which is the cooking from a non-Jew. So we talk about the bread that's made out of other grains than the 5 that we quoted, because those bread are not welcome, are not served on the king's table. And he continue. Et le riz est vrai, peut être servi à une table de roi, mais uniquement lorsqu'il est cuit tel quel. En revanche, s'il n'est pas digne d'être présenté sur une table royale, en revanche, il n'est pas digne d'être présenté sur une table royale lorsqu'on en fait du pain. So here you say that the rice can be So here he said that the rice can be served on a king's table, but if we use the rice in order to make bread, at this case we are not allowed to. It's not a good bread to put on the table of a king. So that was the first halacha. Halacha 2. Halacha 2. Cette interdiction de nos sages de consommer du pain non juif n'a été adoptée par toutes les communautés juives qu'à l'égard du pain cuit par un particulier pour son usage personnel. So all those prohibitions from our sages about this, the forbidden of buying bread from a non-Jew, it's only according to a particular use. Like it's not when you want to do it for to sell to everybody. It's just for a personal use. Okay. So we continue. L'interdiction du pain de boulanger, en revanche, n'a été adoptée partout en raison de la difficulté impliquée, le pain constituant un élément essentiel dans l'alimentation de l'homme. but he said the prohibition of the bread that we buy from in French it's a boulanger, the one who the place where we sell the bread. It have been adopted because of the difficulty that implied of the fabrication of the bread. So there's many of, but he said because the bread is based nutrition for a human. So c'est la raison pour laquelle en français. Oui. Bonjour. Alors je suis en plein cours, juste mais si vous voulez rester pour écouter, pas de problème ici. Si jamais, parce que mais sinon je peux vous raconter tout à l'heure.
His chair in the plane, he and I are together. Did you? I'm joking.
C'est la raison pour laquelle certaines communautés autorisent le pain d'un boulanger non juif dans la mesure où l'on ne trouve pas de boulanger juif. Cela n'entraîne pas une fraternisation puisque le boulanger le fait comme travail. So this is why in some community, Jewish community, they authorize to buy bread from a boulangerie. So it's the place where we sell the bread in French. Only if he is the one who made the bread in the town, and because of that, he will not made the bread for a specific family. It's just because it is his work. So the prohibition here from some community, it's not is abolished. Let's say. Certains permettent d'acheter du pain aux non-juifs, même s'il existe un boulanger juif. C'est ce que nous faisons ici à Bagdad et où les gens achètent le pain des non-juifs, bien qu'on puisse trouver des boulangers juifs. And said that some community also permit, allow the Jewish to buy bread from non-Jewish, even though there are some Jews that how you say fabric to made who makes non-Jews Jews who makes also bread. And he said that Ben Yishai, that in his community in Baghdad, they do they do like this. Qu'on puisse trouver, bien qu'on puisse trouver. Mais notre maître, le Harizal, était très strict à ce sujet et il refusait même de manger du pain dont l'origine étant simplement douteuse, comme on le voit dans Shaharat Ta'ameh Hamizvot. But he said that our master Harizal used to be really strict about this halakha, and even he didn't eat a bread that he have some suspicion about the origin of maybe the wheat or the water or etc. As soon as he saw some doubts, he will not eat the bread. So we're going to continue because this topic is really interesting, and it is a following of the teaching of Rabbi El Natan that gave shiur just before, because there is this saying that says that the one who came before us prepare the path for the next. So Rabbi El Natan helped me because he talked about Bil'am and Balak and all the lineage that came from the children of Lot and her daughters, his daughters. Sorry. So we're gonna talk about it, but Bezat Hashem, we're gonna continue. So we're gonna do some halachot and then we're gonna start directly from the explanation Bezat Hashem. Halakha 3. Cette interdiction ne dépend pas de la personne qui possède le pain, mais de celle qui l'a fait cuire. Le pain fabriqué par un particulier, donc non juif, reste toujours interdit, même au cas où un boulanger l'achète. So he said here that the prohibition doesn't depend on the one who possess the bread, but the one who make the bread. Okay. So so a bread that made by a particular, but it's non-professional person. So it is still prohibited to, even though a professional bread maker buy it from him, because it's not about possession. It's about the one who made the bread. Même en cas, okay. Et même si le particulier non juif qui l'a fait cuire l'envoie aux Juifs pour que ce dernier le mange à domicile. And even if particular non-Jew made the bread and give it to a Jew in order for him to eat it at his home, this also is forbidden. So le pain du boulanger, au contraire, reste autorisé même si un particulier non-juif l'achète. So here, but the bread made out of a professional bread maker, it is permit for even if a non-Jew, a particular non-Jew, bought it, buy it after. Donc, si un non-juif invite un juif, celui-ci a le droit de manger du pain boulanger qu'on lui offre. Alors, si un non-juif invite un juif, celui-ci a le droit de manger le pain de boulanger qu'on lui offre. So, if a non-Jew invites a Jew to eat bread, the Jew is permitted to eat. He is permitted to eat the bread that the non-Jew offered to him, because he didn't make it. He bought it from a professional bread maker. So there's no prohibition there. De même, si c'est un boulanger non juif qui l'invite, il peut manger le pain qu'il a cuit pour être vendu. So even and in the same case also, if a professional bread maker that is non-Jew invite a Jew, he can eat the bread that the non-Jew have cooked for him to sell. So, mais il est défendu de manger du pain, le pain que le boulanger a cuit pour son usage domestique. But he said it is forbidden to eat a bread from a professional bread maker, because he did it for a personal uses. So because it was for him, but not to sell for everybody. In this case, it is forbidden. So s'il y a des questions, if there is a question, don't hesitate to ask. We continue for some halachot, and then we're going to start the main issue about the halakha. Halakha 4, halakha 4. Le pain d'un particulier non juif est toujours interdit, même là où il est impossible de se procurer du pain ou d'un boulanger non juif. So a bread from a particular non-Jewish is always forbidden, even in a place where there's no, it is impossible to buy a bread, a Jewish bread, or a bread came out of made by a professional bread maker, boulanger in French. I don't know how we say it in English, but I will say professional bread maker. Nous suivons en effet l'avis du Maran qui rapporte en tant que halakha l'opinion interdisant le pain d'un particulier non juif en toutes circonstances. So here the Ben Yishai said that we follow the ways of the Maran as a halakha, because he said that all the bread that a particular non-Jew made, it is forbidden for a Jew. il ne servirait à rien de faire bouillir ce pain pour en permettre la consommation et cela n'annulerait pas son interdiction. Okay. So here he said that there's no use to try to boil the bread in order for it to be eaten, because it will not annihilate the prohibition. On ne peut pas non plus consommer ce pain dans un endroit désert sous prétexte que dans ce cas, le risque de mariage ne s'applique pas. It's interesting. And also he said that we are not allowed to eat this bread that are made by a particular non-Jew, even if we are in a desert and we say that there's no risk of marrying a non-Jew at this case because we are alone in the desert. This is a specific case, but it's interesting. Le pain d'un particulier ne peut être autorisé qu'au cas où l'on n'a pas mangé de pain depuis plus de 3 jours. Donc 3 fois 24 heures, ce qui fait 72. Oh. Okay. So he said here that the only way that a Jew can could eat a bread that may have been made by a particular non-Jew is if he didn't eat bread during the last 72 hours, so 3 days. 3 days. Ainsi que le Shabbat. And Shabbat, en raison de la mitzvah de se délester ce jour-là. So because on Shabbat, we have the mitzvah of taking not profit, take pleasure of Shabbat, the oneg. So the translation of oneg, let's say it's pleasure, but it's a big sugya about what is really the meaning of oneg, which is pleasure, but it's not the subject now. But they say that here in our case, when we don't have any bread for Shabbats, and here we are allowed to take a bread that have been made from by a particular Jew, non-Jew. Sorry. Okay, we're gonna ask. Maybe I'm gonna explain not explain, but we're gonna give some hints about what we're gonna see after, because here we say that the halakha dit ici que on peut acheter un pain d'un non-juif à une seule condition, un non-juif donc particulier, dans une seule condition, si on a attendu 3 fois 24 heures, ce qui fait 72 heures, donc 3 jours. So here the halakha says that we need to wait 72 hours in order for us to be allowed to eat a bread that have been made by a particular Jew, non-Jew. So 72 in 72 in Hebrew, how we write it, it's ab. Ayin, it's 70, and bet, it's 2. And we know that here the ab is the inner light of the letter of Yud from Yud Ke Vav Ke. Because we know here we have Yud, He, Vav, and He. And the inner light that is associated to the Yud, which is like this. Yud, we do it in a milui, which is the phonetic. When you say Yud, you write it like this. Yud, Vav, Dalet, which is Yud. Hey, Yud, Vav, Yud, Vav, Hey, Yud. And the gematria, so the numerical value of this milui, it's ab, 72. And also we know that ab is connected to the first Yud of Yud Ke Vav Ke, and it is Chochma. And we know that the first he is bina. The vav is zahir and pin, which is the six sfirot, which goes from chesed, gvura, sferet, netzah, hod, ve yesod. So here, all this, it's vav, and we call it za, which is zahir and pin. And the last he is malchut, the sphere of malchut. Let's see. It's malchut. So why I wrote this, because we're gonna see why the connection between the fact that why we cannot eat bread that has been made out of the 5 types of grain that has been quoted in the Torah. Donc pourquoi j'ai parlé de ça? Parce qu'on va voir tout à l'heure pourquoi des attachés. Pourquoi on ne peut pas manger un pain qui a été fait par un non-juif si ce pain-là a été fait avec une farine, l'un des 5, on va dire farine, non pas farine, céréales, qui a été cité dans la Torah. Okay, so we continue. We're gonna continue maybe two halachot and then we start. Donc on était là. So, halakha 5, halakha 5. Lorsqu'on se trouve auprès de ces Arabes nomades vivant sous une tente et qu'on ne peut se procurer de pain de boulanger, on ne peut néanmoins pas manger leur pain, puisque celle-ci aussi est le pain d'un particulier non-juif. So he said here, when we are in a situation where we met some nomad Arabs that lives under a tent. So maybe it's the how you say it, Bedouin in Bédouin en, je crois que c'est ça le terme, Bedouin. And we didn't have the possibility to buy or to have a bread. Even in that case, we are not allowed to eat from their bread because of the reason that we saw on halakha 4 and 3. Okay. Il faudra donc attendre l'heure où les nomades cuisent leur pain. Ils en cuisent régulièrement matin et soir, voire la journée s'il se présente des invités, et ajouter à ce moment-là un morceau de bois dans le four, ce qui autorisera toute la fournée de pain. So there is a way for in this case for us to be able to eat from their bread when we need to be present at the moment where they will cook the bread, and when they start to light the oven, we need as a Jew to put some a chop of a tree inside the flame. So at this case, in that case, all the bread that have been will be cooked is be permitted, because I think you're gonna explain that, because we participate to the cooking by adding this tree inside the flame. Okay. Il ne s'agit en effet que de marquer la différence et de souligner que leur pain est interdit tel quel, puisque le morceau de bois qu'on a ajouté augmente la chaleur. Ok, attendez. Here, we are here. So, oui. La chaleur et que tout ce qui augmente la chaleur active la cuisson. C'est une différence suffisante pour que le pain soit autorisé. So here, Ben Yishai says the reason. Because by adding this tree inside the flame, we add, we say here, we make a difference in order for the case that we know that we are not allowed to eat from their bread, and because we are not allowed, because we're going to do a difference in the process of making the bread. Here we highlight this the fact that we are not allowed. So this is the first step, and then also the fact that we add the tree will elevate the temperature of the oven. So in that also, this another difference is this difference is sufficient for the bread to be authorized. Mais il ne suffit pas de jeter en passant un bout de bois dans le four en n'ayant pas l'intention de rendre ce pain permis. So, but it is not enough. So in that case, we are not allowed to just throw the chop of tree like this and then go. We need to have the kavanah to build intention of by adding this tree, I will mark the difference between the preparation that the non-Jew have done, and now I'm adding something in order for it to be different, and add my yeah, and participate to the cooking. Allez, et on va faire une dernière halakha. Ouais, une dernière halakha. We're gonna do the last halakha for the day. So halakha 6, lorsqu'un juif charge un non-juif à la cuisson de son pain chez lui à domicile, il faut veiller à ce que ce soit un juif qui place le bois au début de l'allumage. So when we have, for example, someone who we're going to ask a non-Jew to cook for us our bread, in that case, we need to be careful about the fact that we need a Jew to place all the trees in order for example, in a modern way here we need the Jew to light the fire, because we are no longer using the trees to cook food. We have now some gas, etc. So in that case, we need to light the fire. A Jew need to light it. Yeah. On peut se suffire de bois mis au début pour la première et la seconde fournée de pain. Mais il faudra ensuite remettre du bois afin d'alimenter le feu pour la troisième fournée et ainsi de suite. So he said that the first, so when we use trees to cook the bread, when we put it at the first time, it is enough for the first let's say part of the bread, and then we do a second part of the bread. But if you have a third part, we need to add some trees, and a Jew need to do this. It's not a non-Jew. So there's also the same thing is at the third how we say fourné. Let me check the term in English. A batch, yeah. So the third batch of bread, we need to for a non-Jewish, a Jew to add the tree for the flame. So is there any question about the halachot? Est-ce qu'il y a des questions sur la halakha sur le pain des non-juifs?
Non, Rabbi, mais est-ce que je peux juste prendre le tableau derrière en photo, s'il vous plaît?
Je vais prendre en photo, je vous l'envoie sur le groupe.
D'accord, ok, merci.
C'est dans le groupe. Je vais juste transférer dans le groupe Metavel. Normalement, c'est bon. Et je vais rajouter maintenant. Donc, so now we're gonna try to understand Bezat Hashem why specifically with those 5 types of grain, if we made the bread out of them, and a non-Jew cooked the bread, we are not allowed as a Jew to eat them. So in the halacha that we saw, the Ben Yishai gave some hint about the reason about the reason of this question that we asked. So, dans l'introduction et les halachot de Ben Yishai, il donne quelques indices en fait pour nous faire pour comprendre pourquoi on n'a pas le droit de manger du pain de non-juifs si ce pain-là sont faits des 5 céréales qui sont citées dans la Torah. Et c'est dans la halakha 1, mais on va voir. Mais d'abord, je vais juste envoyer une photo pour pouvoir vous partager aussi. Donc, dites-moi quand vous avez reçu la photo. Tell me if you received the picture. Pictures. There's many pictures. Ah, no. So,
Oui, c'est bon, Rabbi.
bon, so, we saw on the halakha here, he said that, il dit ici, nos sages interdisent le pain des non-juifs afin de nous séparer totalement d'eux et d'éviter qu'une cohabitation trop étroite et trop amicale avec eux n'entraîne une proximité et des mariages interdits, comme le fut le cas dans les plaines de Moab. So here we saw that our sages forbidden the bread from non-Jew because when we share the bread with a non-Jew, it builds it brings us to be close together, and then to marry together, and then we saw that on the introduction of the parasha here, he said that we are not allowed to be mixed because the soul of Jewish came from a specific makom in the upper world, and the same. It's not the same origin as the nefesh, the soul of the non-Jewish. So when we read it in Hebrew, it says like this. Rabotenu zal asru pat shel goyim kede leavdil otanu min aakum בתכלית ההבדל שלו נתערב ונרגיל עצמנו עמהם, שעל ידי זה ימשכו הלבבות ויקרבו דעתם אלו לאלו. So when we say here that we need to be, when we share the bread, the risk is to be close together, and then because we are close together, we're gonna marry together. So, but in Hebrew here we say vikarvu da'atam elu ve'elu. Here he said that the risk is about to share a da'at. It's the term here. It's da'at. So we know, and we learn with Rabbi Pinchas and all the Ari, so not Ari, that what is the mochin, the brain here. When we talk about brain, we talk about chokhmah, bina, the da'at. So chokhmah, bina, and the mix of them da'at. So here the Ben Yishai said that the term that he used about the proximity of Jew and non-Jews is because we will mix the da'atam here, as we see before. En fait, ici le Ben Yishai il utilise le terme da'at pour, pour dire qu'en fait, on va mélanger le da'at du juif et du non-juif, et c'est ce mélange-là qui est interdit. C'est pour ça qu'on ne peut pas manger le pain des non-juifs et ne pas même partager de pain avec eux. Donc, so we know also that the da'at is separated in two parts. There is two parts. The first one is chachamim. Here, it's like this. If we say so that here is the da'at, it's separated in two. Here is chachamim, and here is gvurot. And we know that inside of each part we have 5 sfirot. Chesed, Gvurat, Tiferet, Netzar, and Hod. Chesed, Gvurat, Tiferet, Netzar, and Hod. And here, I think I didn't see the Mekor yet, but here I think when we take this part, which is Gvurot, it is the feminine part of the da'at, and the chasadim is the masculine part of the da'at. And here, because we have 5 sfirot, I think it is connected to the 5 types of grain that we saw, because he quoted already here at in the first halacha the 5 types of cereal that we have in the Torah. So if you're gonna connect it, maybe we're gonna say it like this. So now I'm gonna take just the da'at, the vurot of da'at. I'm gonna make it big. So I'm gonna rewrite. Et en fait, ce que je disais, c'est que on sait que les mochines, le cerveau, quand on parle de cerveau dans les petites vernis et on parle de chokma bina da'at, que le da'at, il est divisé en 2 parties. Il y a la partie vurot, chassadim, qui vient masculin, côté masculin, et la partie gvurot, qui est la partie féminine. Et en fait, quand on parle, on va zoomer dans le gvurot de da'at. So here we are in the gvurot of da'at, of the sfira da'at. And here, you can connect now the 5 types of cereal with the 5 sfirot which is inside. We have here chesed, gvura, tiferet, netzar, and hod. And we can say that on va l'écrire en français, ça c'est le lait. Yes. Les. This one. Les, or in English it's wheat. Sorry for my writings. And then we have orge, which in English is barley. And then in Tiferet, we have SEO. No, Shibolet, sorry. Shibolet, which is, how we say it? Avoine. And in English it's spelled. And then we have épeautre. In English it's M spelled, I think. No, first or, sorry. Just, I'm going to respect the order in the Torah. So here is orge, which is... Non, on a déjà fait orge. Ah là, je m'embrouille un peu. Seigle. Which is... let's say here is oath, because ou il spelled. Et le dernier, c'est ce qu'on avait vu, épôtre. Which is M, spelled. Ok. So, déjà, ça, on voit une première connexion. Je ne sais pas si vous voyez, parce que c'est écrit en vert. Mais donc, on a les connexions avec les cinq, on va dire, sirotes qui sont dans Gvura. Alors, pourquoi j'ai parlé de Gvura et non pas de Gvurot, pardon, de Da'at, mais non pas de Fasadin de Da'at? Parce qu'on sait que, pareil, ça, c'est des cours qu'on a reçus, donc c'est l'équipe Harry, qui explique que lorsqu'on a un yichud, donc entre le Zachar et l'Uva, lorsqu'il y a une union entre le féminin et le masculin donne cette partie-là. C'est cette partie-là qui va être donnée et qui va être reçue par Malkout, donc c'est le He, mais c'est le côté féminin. Donc en fait, quand l'homme donne quelque chose à la femme quand il y a une union, il vient du Gvurot des Da'at. Et c'est du Gvurot des Da'at, ils vont descendre jusqu'au Yesod et ils vont rentrer dans le Zera. Et ce Zera-là va aller vers la femme, donc qui est la Malchut, etc. Donc ça, c'est tout un détail, tout un cours. On ne va pas s'attarder dessus, mais en gros, c'est pour ça que j'ai pensé que ce soit dans la Gvura, parce que c'est ce qu'on va donner à la Malchut. So why I'm explaining here, because I choose the Gvurot to start with the Gvurot of the Da'at, because we know in the Kitve Ari, and thanks to the crew of Rabbi Pinchas, that when there is a union between man and woman, the man will give this part of his Da'at to the woman. So it's all process, but this is just to explain why I choose not I choose, but I will depart my explanation with the Gvurot. And then, pourquoi je parle maintenant de fait que Rabbi Elnathan avait préparé le terrain? Parce qu'en fait, ici, même dans la halacha 1 aussi, let me share the screen and then I'm going to finish Bezat Hashem soon. The first halacha, he said also, what he said also, the Ben Yishai gives us some hint also. He said, comme ce fut le cas dans les plaines de Moab. He said it was the case. What is the case when the Bnei Israel went with the Moab women, and they how to say it? They went with them. So why Moab? Moab, we know, and we saw before that thanks to the Rabbi Elnatan's show, that Moab is connected into the Parashat of the week. It is Balak and Bilam. Balak is the king of Moab. Okay? Yeah, and Moab, we know that it is the descendant of the children of Lot and his daughters, one of his daughters. So we have not the connection. Why Ben Yishai talk about this? Because Moab is from Lot, and all this lineage, when we continue the genealogical tree, we were gonna go till Ruth. Who is Ruth? Est-ce que quelqu'un qui est Ruth?
La tramée du roi David.
Exactement. I say Arabanit Emuna, Ruth is the mother and who's gonna give birth to the lineage of the king of Israel, which is David Amelech. And this is why we're gonna open this Sefer of Ben Yishai. It's called Megillat Ruth, and we're gonna say, because at one point, and I shared for you the picture here. We're gonna talk about one specific pasuk. It's on the chapter 2, pasuk, verse 14. So let's see it together. And I'm gonna finish with this. So no, let me start first. Ruth, chapitre 2, verset 14. So, I don't know why it doesn't work. What happened? Juste attends un peu. Ok, je vais partager l'écran. Donc, je vais lire déjà en attendant en hébreu. Et en fait, le passage que Ben Yishai va commenter. Vayomer la, Boaz, les et האוכל גושי הלום ואכלת מן הלחם וטבלת פיתך בחומץ ותשב מצד הקוצרים ויצבעת לה כלים ותאכל ותשבע ותורך. Okay, so I don't know why it doesn't work here. Let's try again. Okay. Roots, chapter 2, verse 14. Okay, here. So, en français, ça donne comme ça. Il dit, à l'heure du repas, Boaz lui dit, approche et mange de nos aliments. Tu peux aussi tremper ton pain dans le vinaigre. Elle saisit à côté des moissonneurs. Il lui offre du grain grillé. Elle en mangea à satiété et en eut encore de reste. So in English, he said like this. It's in Megillat Ruth. And Boaz said unto her, and meal time, come hither and eat of the bread, and dip the morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and the reaper, yeah, and they reached her parched corn, and she did eat and was satisfied, and left thereof. Okay. So we saw. Hey. Donc on va voir ce que le Ben Yishai dit sur ce passouk-là par rapport aux lechem pour bien comprendre pourquoi c'est un problème de da'at justement qu'on va mélanger avec le da'at du non-juif et le juif. C'est ça le problème qui fait qu'on ne peut pas manger des 5 céréales spécifiquement. Lorsque ces 5 céréales-là sont faites pour faire du pain, et ben on ne peut pas manger ça chez les non-juifs. Si c'est fait avec d'autres farines, on peut manger.
Avec maïs, on peut.
Maïs aussi, normalement.
Ça, on peut pas manger.
Voilà, si c'est fait par un non-juif, j'ai connecté avec le droit de Tahat, mais on va y aller.
Ah, des chaud là.
Mais attaché. Okay. So here Ben Yishai is saying something we are here. So the pasuk that we're going to comment is here. Goshi alom ve'achalt min alechem. So he said, as we saw here, Nera lefaresh shermuz la be'achilat alechem shiba mimena David Amelech alav shalom uzro'o. Okay, so let's translate it first. He said here that this pasuk, this verse, is to give a hint, a remez, the fact that when we eat bread, it is connected to when we eat bread, we're gonna go out. How to say it? We're gonna bring out the lineage of David Amelech and in all his descendants. So why? What is the connection? Asher zechu lishnei ktarim beyichud. Because so the Ben Yishai explained. It continue because by eating we unify the two kitarim, the two how you say it, keter, couronne. En anglais, la couronne, mince. How is it? Keter, crown. Crown. Sorry.
Crown.
Yeah, Todaraba. The crown here. So which crown have been put together when we eat lechem? So here we said the Ben Yishai said the ayenu keter malchut, the gam keter Torah. So he said the two crowns will be to put together when we eat when we eat the bread lechem. How? Because there is the keter from Malchut and also the keter of Torah. So he connects the crown of the royalty, which is connected to David HaMelech, which is the first king, real king, let's say, and then the keter of the Torah, the crown of the Torah. Dirtiv in Yirmiyahu, Bet David ko amar Hashem dino levucha mishpat. So he quoted Yirmiyahu here as a. So let's see also this pasuk. You see the screen, right? Yirmiyahu 20:21 and verse 12. O house of David, thus said the Lord, execute justice in the morning. So that was the pasuk. Donc en français, il dit quoi en fait? Pourquoi il connecte la malchoute, la couronne de la malchoute et aussi la couronne de la Torah, comme ce qui a été cité ici par le prophète Jérémie. Sorry, not in Hebrew, I would say it in French. La maison de David, ainsi par l'Éternel, rendez bonne justice dès la première heure. Alors pourquoi alors c'était ça exactement le passage? Oui. Et en fait, il continue. Pourquoi il a cité ce passage-là? Comment on fait? Oui. On va avancer parce que j'ai quasiment plus de temps vu qu'on a fait une passe. Mais David Meller à la Bachal, David Meller à Bachalom, Galé Mesarta, Bemora, Orot, Beose, Tzedaka, Mishpat, Bealacha, Ke Moto, Bechol Makom, Beyadu Aki, Atora Nikra, Be Mar, Me Maalot, Be Amalchut, Be Bishloshim, Me Maalot. Donc en fait, pourquoi donc en fait, on parle de couronne de la Malchoute parce que c'est ce que va représenter David HaMelech quand il va régner quand il va prendre la fonction de roi sur les Béné Israël. Il va être celui qui va couronner les Béné Israël et il va appliquer la loi et les mitzvot d'Hachem. So the first part we say that we're going to connect the two crowns of Malchut and Keter. The first crown of Keter, it's represented by David HaMelech, which will rule upon the Bnei Israel, and he will apply the mitzvot and the justice to the people of Hashem. So this was the first part, and the second part, why it is called what is the crown of the Torah? The crown of Torah, it's we saw it in Sanhedrin. We say that the Torah is called Be Mach Ma'alot Ve Amalchut Be Sheloshim Ma'ot. So he said the Torah is called 48 rising of the royalty and 30 rising. So what is this? We know that he quoted now the how is it? Maxime des Pères, Pirkei Avot. In Pirkei Avot, we say that Kemo she'amar atana bevraita difkei avot, the Pirkei Avot, sorry, vishnehem hem otiot lechem. So because in Pirkei Avot, we say that we just quoted this part, as you see, and this is why we call now the bread lechem in Hebrew, because there are two types of rising. Il y a deux sortes de montées. Alors, c'est quoi ces montées-là? Il y a le monté, il y a 48 montées qui sont liées à la Malchut et 30 montées. C'est quoi ces montées? On va aller en détail, Bezat Hashem, but let me show you here. What is it saying? Shalom, shalom. I'm going to take just a picture. I don't know if you want the picture, but I will just take it.
48 comme Ham?
Oui, exactement. 48 as Ham, exactly as say Rabbanit Sarah. So, because we have this, how we say bread in English, in Hebrew is lechem. Lechem, this is gematria 30, sorry, and it's connected to the 30 olot that have been quoted in Sanhedrin, in the pasuk of the Sanhedrin, which is Maseret, and Ham is here is 40, and here is 8, so 48, which is connected to the rising of the Malchut. And we know that Ham is also the son of Noah, which is he had Yafet, Ham, Shem. And here it's we know the concept of Ham here because in Botsna Gadisha we are all descendants from the Ham. So he connected it like this, and then he continued. Sorry. Oh, there's a question. No problem, Rabbanit Juliet. I wish you Shabbat Shalom. So we're gonna finish here. Sorry, and then we are here. Oh, Yuvan. Vayomer la Boaz le'et ha'ochel goshi ha'alom. Donc, so, ici, il reprend de nouveau, donc il va donner notre explication du même passage qu'on a lu. Nira lefaresh beset alishmaya be'echad de achila ki nui le zivug. So here il dit qu'avec l'aide d'Hachem, que quelqu'un, une personne qui va manger, il est surnommé quand il est en train de manger zivug, un couple. So here he said Ben Ishraï that someone who start to eat, how is he called? He is called zivug. It's a couple. Lachen be'et ha'achila remez la al inyan zivug shela shetizka leolir ben. So he said that when we eat, because we eat, we know that it is connected to all the matter of the sugya, the inyan of the zivug, and till when the woman will give birth, till a woman give birth. Not a birth, just give a birth of a boy, which is here Ben. We're not gonna start stop with each point, because in each point we can talk about everything. For example, here the Ben is also Ban, which is the last light of the Yud Ke Vav Ke that came out of the hay. But let's just continue because I don't have many time. Donc, on continue. Vehu yadua ma shekatav Rabbeinu ha'arizal be'Esraim ki shenet tzirim u'shte daltot sheyesh be'isha. So this is what explained our master Arizal in the Sefer Etzraim. He said that there is 2 axles and 2 doors inside a woman. So for those who follow the shiur that we have with Rabbi Pinchas, we know the connection between the door and the woman. So here he quoted the same passage that we saw. that inside the woman we have four things, two doors and two axles. So what are those two? כי שני צריכים ושתי דלתות שיש באישה לצורך ההריון הם נעשים בבתם דוגמת מם סתום. So he said, what is those two things? So we have two axles. Two axles and two doors inside the woman, Isha. And what is those two? He said that the first is because sorry. The door is connected to the abdomen of the woman, and it is represented from the letter Dalet. Sorry, not Dalet. Mem Satum, the mem which is closed. And we know, and as Rabbi Elnatan just explained before, the letter Mem is composed with two other letters, which is two Dalet. Two Dalet, which is the two, and how we say it when it is in plural, Doltot. This is how the Ben Ishai explained. Doltot. The two doltot, it is the last mem, which is representing the abdomen or the rechem, also, we can say, where the woman will, the fetus will grow up, because he connected it to when we eat, we are in a zivug, we are in couple, and when we couple, we will create a neshama. We'll bring down a neshama, and we're gonna give birth to a ben, as we say here, a ben. ובתור כלי זה שהוא דוגמת מם סתומה נתונים מים נוקבים. Oh, so now we're going to connect also this. So because from this keli, so the Ben Ishai called the mem as a keli. From the keli, the woman of the belly of the woman, let's say of the abdomen, she will receive the mayim nukvin. So the mayim nukvin is the feminine water that will be it is necessary in order to get birth. And where the feminine water come from? From, he will say here, mayim nukvim shela shehem chamesh otiot mantzapa. So now we're going to go back to the da'at which have. What does he say? Because inside this keli, we will build a mayim nukvim, which is the feminine water. And where the feminine water came from? It comes from the five letters, which is mantzapa, which is the five letter that when they're at the end of a word, they have a specific form. So here it is. Let's share it, and I'm going to finish here. Mantzapa. Man. Pa. So we have five letters, and it's a all concept. But here, let's say because we have five letters, it came from Chochma. And we know, and we saw that the Chochma, Chochma, we're gonna give one part of his. En fait, le Chochma va donner une partie de lui-même dans Da'at. Et c'est le Chassadim. C'est ce qu'on avait vu tout à l'heure. Et pareil, Bina, de l'autre côté, elle va donner une partie d'elle-même qui va former les Gvurot de Da'at, comme on avait vu aussi tout à l'heure. Et en fait, le Mantzapar, lorsqu'ils ne sont pas en Soufetevot, c'est-à-dire qu'ils ne sont pas à la fin d'une phrase, ça, il est masculin. Donc, s'il il est connecté à Chachamim des Da'at. Rachamim Donc, des da'at. Da'at. And then, quand ils sont en sauf et votes, c'est-à-dire les signes, ça devient même comme ça. Nun, tzad, P et Chaf, ils sont connectés. Je vais effacer le DFM parce qu'on a compris. Ils sont connectés au Vurot. Vurot des Da'at. Et en fait, alors qu'est-ce que ça nous apprend? What did it learn for us? Because this part of the Mansapa will bring up the Maim Nukvin that is inside the Keli of Mem Sofit. So just to finish, because I think Avikinas will start soon. Mais en gros, en fait, qu'est-ce qu'on fait lorsqu'on est en train de manger en fait du pain maintenant? Parce que on a vu aussi que ici les 5 lettres là sont aussi associées à Da'at et que chaque sphira dans Da'at, surtout ici dans la Gvura, Gvurot, pardon, ils sont connectés aux 5 types de blé. Et en fait, on sait que lorsque quelque chose est dans la Gvura, il faut l'adoucir. Pour l'adoucir, il faut, comment on adoucit les choses qui sont dans la Gvura, qui sont dures, qui sont dans le din, en étudiant la Torah et en étant shomer mitzvot. Because we are shomer mitzvot and Torah, we have the possibility to sweet the Gvura side. And this is why now we say that the non-Jew, when the bread of the non-Jew have been made out of those five cereals, but a Jew cannot eat because a Jew cannot sweeten the gvurot that we build in. Parce que les non-juifs ne peuvent pas adoucir les gvurot parce qu'ils n'étudient pas la Torah, ils ne sont pas shomer mitzvot. So it will be dangerous for us, for a Jew to eat a bread that came from a non-Jew. Why? Because it not have been sweetened, and we're gonna eat something that is really rough and really thin, and we're gonna attract demon on us. So this is why. Donc c'est pour ça que les pains qui sont faits des 5 céréales qui sont ici, qui sont en fait forment le da'at le da'at dans notre cerveau. C'est ça, lorsqu'on le mange et que ça vient d'un non-juif, il n'a pas été adouci. Et quand ça n'a pas été adouci, on va manger en nous quelque chose qui est très digne, qui est très dur. Et on attire sur nous aussi quelque chose de très digne. Et c'est pour ça, en fait, toute cette soubia de l'interdiction de pain des non-juifs. Et c'est pour ça aussi qu'on a vu que le Harizal était très makpid et très strict par rapport à la halakha, qui dit dès qu'il y a quelque chose qui est en doute, par exemple sur les céréales ou sur même le bishul, la cuisson d'un non-juif, etc., dès qu'il a un doute, il ne prenait pas. Parce qu'il ne voulait pas prendre quelque chose qui n'a pas été adouci. Voilà, en fait, c'est ce que je voulais dire. Et voilà. Est-ce que vous avez des questions? J'espère que j'ai été clair. Et sinon, s'il n'y a pas de questions, on va arrêter là. Et Bezat Hashem, on va continuer la semaine prochaine. Bezat Hashem. Je vous dis Shabbat Shalom. I wish you Shabbat Shalom and see you next time. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen. Amen. Bye bye.
Merci, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Merci, Rav.
Avec plaisir. Au revoir.